day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your favorite entrepreneurial show, Dis-moi ce que tu fais, on MK MEDAI. As usual, we bring in an entrepreneur so he can already present his enterprise, what he's doing, how he does that, and most importantly, with whom he's doing it. Today, we are touching the educational sector. As we always say, the pillar of the society are students and also our teachers. So we bring in a school today, a high school to be precise. Purpose-driven high school located at au-delà, a boarding and day school offering specialized education. I said specialized because it is a purely English school. Well, in order to represent this beautiful educational sector, with us we have the director of the institution, Mr. Chu Franklin. Good morning, Mr. Chu.
Good morning, madam.
Hope you are doing great.
I'm doing great. How are you too?
I'm great, thank you. Well, today you are on MK MEDAI as the director of Purpose-driven High School. Of course, Purpose-driven High School has a founder. So before we enter in your own way of becoming the director of the High Institute, can you already present and tell us who is the founder of PJHS?
Thank you, madam, for giving me the floor. As you earlier said, that is Purpose-driven High School, which the acronym is PJHS. It was founded and is owned by a sole proprietor. And it's no other person by Dr. Reverend Chapa Victor, who is based in the US.
Okay, that's great. So I want to know, and I believe our audience also they want to know, how come are you the director of PJHS? Because you mentioned it so well. PJHS has a CEO. So why not own it and also control it, but employ someone in order to manage it?
Okay. Once more, I'm happy to be part of your program.
That's great.
Yes, being the director of PDHS was not by chance.
Okay.
It was by some qualities that are needed for you to be able to manage an institution of that magnitude or standard.
Okay.
Basically, from my high school right up to the PhD level, I've been carrying on my studies under the Faculty of Education.
Oh. Yes,
presently I'm an educational consultant.
That's great.
And at the same time, I'm doing my PhD studies under Administration and Management of Education in the Faculty of Education in the University of London.
Okay.
So with the experience that I've gathered for the past years, from my former school where I was the principal, but because I had to go back to school for my PhD out of the country, so I was given the second chance to leave the principal and come down to be the Dean of Studies. Okay. Because as a principal, you must be in school every day, but the Dean maybe can come 2 times or 3 times. That's how I left from the principal to the Dean of Studies. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, I've undergone so many series of seminars, educational seminars and trainings both on desk and online. So with the rich experience that I've gathered so far in the field, so it gives me that opportunity to be able to gain experience, be able to gain skills that are helping me today to manage the prestigious institution, Purpose-driven High School.
That's great. Congratulations already for your story. It's an inspiration, I can say it in one way or the other. Well, since we are talking about PJHS, the spotlight today is on Purpose-driven High School. I want you to present Purpose-driven High School. What is Purpose-driven High School giving, or let me say offering to the general public? Who are the people targeted by Purpose-driven High School, and what is the mission of Purpose-driven High School?
One of the very first aspects what I was put on is that Purpose-driven High School is a pure Anglo-Saxon day and boarding school. Okay. When I say pure Anglo-Saxon, it simply means that all the learning objectives that are supposed to be attained by the end of the academic year are being done 98% in the English language. Okay. And it's the French language that comes in to cover the remaining 2%. Okay. And we target the less privileged, we target the privileged. So purpose-driven is not only meant for the rich, okay. It is meant for learners in the society who are in the given school age. And when we're talking about the given school age here, we're talking about learners from 3 years right up to maybe 16 or 17 years. Right. Because purpose-driven has 3 sections. The very first section is the general section, which covers arts and science subjects. Mm-hmm. They will have the commercial section, which has 2 specialties, that is the accounting specialty and the marketing specialty. And at the center, we have the technical section. And in the technical section, we have 5 main specialties that we run. We have motor mechanics, we have electricity and electronics, we have bespoke, which is fashion designing, we have motor mechanics, building construction, and home economics. So those are the specialties that run from Form 1 right up to Upper 6.
Okay. So what is the key vision of Purpose-Driven High School?
Yeah, as a learner, one of the key aspects that a learner should be satisfied in order for him or her to have maybe a successful study environment is the environment of that institution. So the founding president, that is Dr. Reverend Chapa Victor, thought it wise to come out with a unique vision that's going to bolster the learning environment of those students. And so that core vision of the school is that he decided to create a nurturing and dynamic environment that at the end of the day is going to foster learners to accept or to attain their purpose, to identify their unique purpose and their potentials at the end of the day, or at the end of their studies in Purpose-Driven High School.
Yeah, and it reminds me exactly the slogan of PJHS, Purpose, Mastery and Transformation. Why this slogan? What do they represent, the 3 words in question? Purpose, mastery, transformation.
Now, one of the key aspects that as an individual you must know is that you must know your purpose. You must identify your purpose.
Exactly.
And when you identify this purpose, you should be able at the end of the day to master, to get the required skills that are needed in that purpose, and at the end of the day transform them in such a way that you will be able to solve any problem wherever you find yourself in a given society. And that is those are some of the key objectives why that the module came about.
All right. With this key vision, remember you earlier mentioned Purpose-Driven High School is a purely Anglo-Saxon school. So why the 2% attributed to French?
Okay, because French is done as a subject.
Okay.
Because we have more than so many subjects. So when we want to divide the total number of subjects, you will discover that French is going to represent 2%.
All right.
Yes. So that's because all the other subjects, all the other courses are being done in English language.
Great. Well, why I want to ask this question is very pertinent because we always say as an entrepreneur, we work following a vision and we work according to a given strategy. So I want us to look at the localization of Purpose-Driven High School. Purpose-Driven High School is located in Yaoundé, capital city of Cameroon. And it's well known that Yaoundé is, I won't say it exactly because of course Cameroon is a bilingual country, but yet Yaoundé is a French zone, French-speaking zone. So why installing, or let me say, why deciding to build an Anglo-Saxon school, purely Anglo-Saxon school in a French zone?
Okay, thank you once more for that pertinent question. As you earlier mentioned, Yaoundé is a metropolitan city where most of the inhabitants are considered to be francophones, that is from the French background.
Yeah.
But we thought it wise that since we discovered from a research on the field that most of the francophone or French-speaking parents love the Anglo-Saxon system of education.
Exactly.
And with a research that was conducted in about 10 different schools in Yaoundé, we discovered that in each of the schools that we went, we discovered that the total number of students, 80% were from the French background. And when we carried out another research on the official exams, that is on the government common entrance after class 6 and the GC advanced level and ordinary level, we discovered that these students, they still do better, even more than our francophone learners or students. So we decided to come to Oja, and then we decided to lay that school, and then knowing in mind that we are going to contribute in the development of their minds, in the transmission of knowledge, and that is how we came about in setting up the school in Oja.
Okay, and of course it's well thought, but yet I want to ask, the research actually was set, and according to results, they were showing that in Yaoundé, or let me say generally, many francophone parents want their children to further English section. But there again, why wouldn't you decide, like many schools, because something very common in Yaoundé and in Cameroon in general, to do a bilingual section or let me say a bilingual school, but just purely Anglo-Saxon?
Okay. At the same time, we didn't want to open a bilingual school because we also discovered that since most of these children, they come from the French background, they are already versed so much with the French language.
Exactly.
And coming in again with the bilingual system, that is the French and the English system, we thought it wise that it's going to be confusing them in such a way that if, let's say, the teacher teaches in English, and then the other section, they have maybe a French learner, and then maybe in some recreational activities, like maybe cultural activities, maybe break, and then the students come together.
Yeah.
You'll discover that at the end of the day, the French language is still going to dominate in their minds, and then right up to their subconscious mind. And in official exams, from class 6 right up to advanced level, the official exam that they do write is purely in English. So those are some of the things that we wanted to prevent, and then in future. So that is why we decided to specialize only in offering the English system, because their end of course exams, their end of course certificate exams are purely in the English language.
Exactly. And I think it's very important, it's very pertinent, because nowadays we can observe that many students, particularly those who are francophone, let me say born francophone, who decide to further their education in English, when it comes to official examinations, some of them might fail because of language barrier. Others will instead write in French. I don't know if, as you earlier mentioned, it's because of the conscience or whatever, but most of them will easily want to write in French because that's their language. They were born speaking French. I mean, back at home, they speak French and with friends. So I believe it's very important that in our schools, we instill them with this spirit of speaking the language, a language they know so well, though, also write it when it comes to their official examination. So far I can say a big congratulations, because the idea is well thought.
Thank you, madam.
Okay, that's great. This time around, let's touch the environment that reigns at PGHS. As you earlier mentioned, when the founder of the institution brought in the idea, he wanted to ensure that the environment is positive in such a way that the students can go in and, let me say, further their purpose in life. So, which environment currently reigns at Purpose Driven High School?
Okay, as I earlier mentioned, that for you to be able to attain your set objectives, especially when it comes to learners, the learning environment is supposed to be so much conducive. And that is why the CEO, which is the provider himself, decided to put so many facilities to attain these objectives. Okay. And if you come to Purpose Driven High School, you will discover that the classrooms are very spacious. Spacious in the sense that you have the space between one learner and the other is more than 80 centimeters. And at the same time, you discover that the air-conditioned environment with large windows and doors gives a way for, let's say, for that air condition in the various classrooms, so that the minds of the learners are going to remain fresh. And at the same time, you will discover that with an educational environment in that magnitude, one of the key aspects, objectives, is that the learners are supposed to be very neat and very clean. And that is why when you come to PGHS, you discover that every point is well tized, beginning from the playground right up to the classrooms and even up to the toilets.
Very important.
And since security is also needed, because parents and stakeholders sending their children to you for protection, your environment also is supposed to be well protected. And that is why you will discover that we have a very fenced environment all around that covers the voter area of the institution, and at the same time we have trained security guards that are there to monitor every security reasons that happen in school. And at the same time, security cameras have also been installed in key points in the institution. So all that is to maintain security, and at the same time maintain a conducive and spacious environment for educational learning outcomes.
Let's speak about the teachers. Teachers commonly known in our society as the Lord of the Chalk. I want to know, when you're hiring teachers, since you're trying to give the best education to the students, what are the criteria always taken into consideration?
Okay, we know that in every educational institution, one of the key actors is the teaching staff.
Exactly.
And purpose driven does not joke with this teaching staff. And we have a series of criteria that we follow before you are able to gain access into PDHS. And one of the key criteria that we follow is that of the qualification.
Okay.
Qualification in the sense that you should be able to must have had a first degree in a particular specialty or a field of studies or subject before you can gain access to PDHS. And not only having a first degree, maybe having some sort of experience too in the field and in your particular specialty in which you are teaching. And at the same time, we also have to look back on your past records and even your past backgrounds and workstations to be able to get a conducive information or a correspondent information that matches with what we are looking for. And even at that, we also go back to checking your ordinary level and advanced level results, because you will discover that with the nature of our society today, especially in our country, Cameroon, you will see some art students maybe doing A1, which is let's say French, history, and literature and English, and then when they go to a professional school, and then they go and do nursing.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they end up having an HND or a something like a bachelor's degree. And if you want to use a bachelor's degree with someone that did, let's say, A1 in the high school, and then goes and does, let's say, nursing in a professional institution, that person cannot really deliver what you are expecting to deliver in a science-inclined series in the high school. So these are some of those factors that we put in place before we recruiting.
Great. I remember you earlier mentioned, while speaking about your vision of purpose-driven high school, you mentioned the fact that not only rich students are targeted, but also the underprivileged. So I want to know, how is PGHS helping the underprivileged?
As the CEO, being a reverend, and at the same time a philanthropist, we usually we give an open application of learners of the less privileged, in quote, as you said, every academic year. So every academic year, between 5 and 10 learners are often given free scholarship, which means they just have to pay the registration fee, which is maybe 10,000 francs, and they will school in purpose driven from Form 1 right up to Upper 6.
That's great.
And there are some that we will decide to give them discounts. And when they come and then they perform well, we still give them other scholarships to move to the next class, and then the process continues. That is what we do in helping the less privileged. That's
great. You know, we always mention it, we're in the 21st century, the present of technology and digitalization as a whole. I'm happy enough, I'm glad you earlier mentioned in PGHS there are cameras installed in specific points. But yet I want us to enter deep into it, because here we are talking about education. So I want to know if in purpose-driven high school, technology is being used in order to help students when it comes to their education.
Okay, as you earlier said, we are now in the 21st century.
Exactly.
And at the same time, automatically, the educational system should be a 21st century educational system. And when you follow the Minister of Secondary Education, Madame Nalova Lyonga, one of the reforms that she has put in place is digitalization.
Exactly.
And that is what Purpose Driven has been striving to also put in place. If you come to the multi-purpose media center, you will discover that we have 70 computers of the 21st generation.
70 computers.
Yes.
Because sir, there are many schools, they always mention the computer lab and so on, but when you reach on the spot, you don't see them.
The computers are there,
okay,
and they are working.
That's great.
And we have also what we call an internet connection.
Yeah.
So the students, every week, they make sure that they go to the computer lab at least twice a week. So that when you do something in the theory, you must do that in the practicals.
Is it for every student or?
For every student.
Okay.
Because each class has what we call the computer science. From Form 1 right up to upper 6. So they do computer sciences. Okay. And then we have made it in such a way that they have what we call internet service. Maybe when you want to do the research, you can go to the computer lab and then you do your research in your free period or the study period. And then to also promote the digitalization network system, we have made it compulsory in lower 6 and up 6. So even if at the end of the day, you don't write it in the end of year GCE exams in up 6, you should be able to do, it is compulsory for you to do ICT, which ICT is part of computer sciences. Exactly. So lower 6 and upper 6 students, it is mandatory for them to do computer science and ICT right up to upper 6.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Because I think it's a very important factor many schools nowadays should consider. And I earlier mentioned this issue of labs because there are many schools, they use it as a publicity. It is good. It's marketing, of course, but at least at the end of the day, what students get in the classroom should be exactly what they reflect at the beginning. And I think as you mentioned it so well, the Minister of Secondary Education is trying to do that, digitalization, because I think it's very important, a very vital factor in our educational system nowadays. But then again, I want us to still remain in the school environment. 21st century is not just all about positivity, but there are also many negative things that are in nowadays. And I want us to target the students. I think you are well aware of it. Nowadays in school, we hear about violence in the school milieu. So I want to know how purpose-driven high school handle violence in the school milieu. And of course, that is if once in a while you guys actually experience violence in the school milieu.
Yes, violence is common everywhere.
Okay.
Especially in the school environment.
Yeah.
Violence occurs every day. And so we have so many strategies that we are putting in place to overcome or to minimize the violence in the school milieu or in the school environment. And so in doing that, that is why we have a guidance and counselor in the school, which from time to time we have recalcitrant fellows. When they come up, the guidance counselor will be able to talk with them every week, caution them, counsel them, and giving them some guiding tips and able to follow the rules and regulations that have been put in place. Okay. Even before that, we also have what we call the school rules and regulations for students. And we make sure that when each student registers, and then that student should be able to have in possession the school rules and regulations that will guide him or her in the school environment. It is true that good laws cannot make good people, but good people will make good laws. So the laws are not enough, and that is why we have some NGOs who come and then they talk to the learners on some of the virtues in the environment, the effects of the virtues, and at the same time the vices that some of the students portray, and then the disadvantages of those vices. So they try to preach all those things to the students, and we also have maybe Bibles to share the Bible with them, especially during assemblies, general assemblies, for them to be able to know the rights and wrongs, and then the effects of the wrongs, and at the same time the advantages of the rights. Okay. So that is what we actually do with the students.
Are the sensitization meetings or speeches actually working?
Yes, they are working. They are working. Even though we have some, in every aspect we must have some people who might still want to go astray, but we are doing everything possible to put them on the way. Okay.
Well, I believe you're well aware of what recently happened in Yaoundé. Of course, I'll not mention the school. A group of students, they were allegedly arrested because of drug so and consumption in our school milieu. So I want us to look at the issue itself and take a practical example. In Purpose-driven high school, has such ever happened?
Yeah, and the year before last, we had a student.
Oh,
We had a student who came in with drugs.
okay.
So that was during the first term, 2023-2024 academic year.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to caution that student. We brought in a psychologist
Mm-hmm.
to also work with that same student. And at the end of the day, the student ceased from smoking.
Yeah.
So if I'm not making a mistake, that should be a lone student
Yeah.
that have been caught with something like drugs on campus. And from that time right up to now, we have hardly had such. Yes.
Okay. It should be reminded that Purpose-driven high school is a day and boarding school. It's true that we're speaking about the general aspect, but I want us to touch the boarding school. There is this rumor among students, not just students, but also parents. Some parents will say, I can't send my child to boarding school because of one or two reasons. And students will also confess the fact that boarding schools, there are a lot of mischievous things happening there. So I want to know, are there mischievous things in question happening in boarding schools? I don't want to mention them in detail, of course, but
Okay.
I think we understand, of course.
I'm getting
So are they actually happening in Purpose-driven high school, the boarding parts?
Okay, as you said, we run the day and the boarding section. And in the boarding section, even when we're schooling, we could hear that there are always mischievous things that happen. You hear about witches, you hear about wizards coming in the night,
Yeah.
and then let's say pressing the students and so on. And we have not witnessed that in Purpose-driven as of now. I want to be very frank with you, because as I said, in those days you could hear, or even now, you can hear that students maybe at night they want to excavate over the gate.
Yeah.
Maybe they go to the nightclubs, they go to the quarters, and they do funny things, and then come back without the notice of the administration or the management.
Yeah.
But we have really done so many things, so many facilities have been put in place in Purpose-driven to prevent that from happening. One of the very first things is that we have a chaplain of the school. And the chaplain of the school, the role is to build the students' minds spiritually. Because nowadays so many things are happening, and if you are not spiritually upright, you are going to be a victim. So he conducts prayers with the students in the mornings, and in the evenings he also conducts prayers with the students. And Wednesdays they still have prayers, and even on Sundays they still have Sunday service where key aspects are being touched to soften their minds, to make them be aware of the dangers of the various spiritualities. And at the same time, the way the boarding section has been constructed and set up, you will discover that in some boarding school you want to hear that you will be hearing that maybe the boys they go and sleep in the girls' dorm, and then so many funny things they happen.
In general.
Yes, and at the same time, the way the dormitory section have been set, we have a discipline master for the boarding section, we have a boarding master for the boys, and then we have a boarding mistress for the girls. And we have two different rooms of studies that is during their study period in the evenings. And each of these masters in charge or mistresses in charge, they monitor the students, and after the students finish reading, they move to their respective dormitories. And then roll calls are conducted to be sure that all the students are in their respective dorms. And then when that is done, and then now the boarding masters or the mistresses now they key in, they lock them, and then they go with the keys, and each dormitory has about 3 different doors to lock before the final main gate. So, and then with the security cameras that are there, and at the same time a security guard at night. So we are struggling and preventing so many mischievous things from happening.
Yeah, it's clear that in Purpose-driven high school, students are not just being followed up physically, but also spiritually, which is very important. There again, I want to know there's this aspect. Many people nowadays have this mentality, especially students. The fact that in Anglophone schools, that's how they call it, Anglo-Saxon school to be precise, when it comes to punishment, it is harsh, it is rude. Is it true?
You know, an Anglophone man, the Anglophone culture, which is the British culture, one of their key aspects is respect.
Discipline.
And discipline.
Yeah.
Because if you are not disciplined, whatever knowledge, whatever certificates that you have, you will find yourself not having jobs for yourself, or not having the type of job that merits your skills and competencies.
Exactly.
And so that is why when a student commits, let's say, an error, we first give you some counseling. And when that repeats itself, that is when now serious discipline and sanctions come in. And the sanctions that we give you is not a sanction that will kill you. Those are sanctions that will correct you, that will reset your mind, so that at the end of the day, you should be a wanting someone in the society. Not that you go somewhere, but because of indiscipline, you go and you start causing chaos and so on. And that is why we have moral lessons that we give them under assembly grounds. And we also have moral lessons like religious studies that is taught from Form 1 right up to Upper 6.
Okay. And
citizenship education is taken very seriously in purpose-driven high school.
Exactly. So I think in purpose-driven high school, this says spend a rod and spoil a child is very valid.
It's very
you don't
valid.
joke when it comes to discipline. You don't joke. But it's true that yet many people always see the discipline as harsh, hard, because we all know the most common way used by schools nowadays when it comes to discipline is whipping. So I want to know if in purpose-driven high school you use a similar method, or you guys have other methods, because as a Baptist school, there are always ways.
Okay, as I said, one of the policies that the Minister of Secondary Education said some few years back was the abolition of corporal punishments in schools. And you discover that an African child, in quotes, cannot succeed without a whip. So you are not whipping the child to kill the child, or you are not whipping the child because you hate the child. If I usually tell them during some moral lessons that if I'm succeeding today is because of my class 6 teacher. The way he was correcting us, the way he was beating us when we commit crimes, made us to be very disciplined in life. So they should know that if you are correcting them using the whip, you are correcting them out of love. You are correcting them to instill in them discipline, to instill in them that good character in them. And apart from, we can beat once in a while. Beating is not just, is one of the last options when it comes to punishment in the schools. At times you even discover that, for example, if a child, let's say, have to copy notes and the child didn't copy notes, and then the administration come or the teachers come to check, and then discovers that the child didn't copy notes, it's not automatically beaten. Now the teacher may say, go and buy a 20-leaf exercise book. And then you feel that book. And that student, to feel a 20-leaf exercise book is not a child's play.
Exactly.
So before that student finishes, at least something is going to ring in the mind.
Well, we had some techniques, you know. There are a lot of techniques, so we do that.
Okay. So another issue is that we can still punish you to say mop the floor. And in mopping the floor is under normal circumstances is a good upbringing of the child.
Exactly.
Because if the child leaves the parents and let's say go and school in Boya, there are some students who will be able to rent.
Exactly.
And then it's not their parents who will come and be taking care of the neatness or the cleanness of their room. So in punishing the child, you are still educating the child and then inculcating cleanliness in the child.
Exactly.
So there are many ways in which we punish students. As I said, beating is the last resort, but purpose beats.
No, not accepted by the means.
But to correct.
Okay. Yes. Well, lastly, so I want to know what is the key vision, or let me say, When you look at Promouvoir High School, you as a director, where do you expect to see Promouvoir High School and especially the students of Promouvoir High School in such a way each and every time you think or see a student of Promouvoir High School, you're proud of Promouvoir High School?
My vision is that in wherever a purpose-driven high school student finds his or herself, that student should be at the top. That student should have a good character trait. That student should be able to have the skills, should be able to have the competencies, should be able to have the attitudes that are needed in every activities, in our daily activities. That students should be able to solve problems that are found in their environment. So that is where I see purpose-driven, that's where I see the learners, when they graduate from purpose-driven, find themselves.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bon Franklin, for coming.
Thank you so much, I'm grateful.
As we all heard, we all were born for a purpose, and of course, we need to follow the purpose. So choose your educational sector, or let me say, choose your school wisely in order to be able to follow your purpose, and especially know that you were born for a mission and you need to achieve the mission. Very important. Thank you so much to Promouvoir High School for sending someone to represent and speak about the educational sector, particularly this day, our show, our entrepreneurial show to be precise, Dis-moi ce que tu fais. That's all for today. I remain your presenter, Tatiana Yenda, short Fabrice Ondoa, and also Clara Nyangono. Realization still Clara Nyangono. General supervision, Simplice Foge. Always remember to follow us on our different pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or why not Instagram. Remember to also visit our website, media-mk.com. Dis-moi ce que tu fais. That's all for today, but always remember, we speak about you so the world can discover you.